Hey there, I'm Han.
And I'm Kat, and we're BrewsandReviews.
So today we're bringing you our April wrap-up, and it was a very hectic month, as you all know, because you were there with us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, on my part, reading wasn't great.
Neither was it on mine, really. I listened to mostly audiobooks occasionally.
Yeah.
And then, I just didn't really read anywhere near as much as I wanted to,
No.
but there wasn't time.
No,
There was just no time.
To be fair, I was so booked out, even though I wasn't particularly reading, just listening about books and talking about books ourselves. I think I'm sick of books. I don't want to look at books. I don't want to hold the book or anything like that. So it got to a week before the end. I was like, I actually haven't read a book this month. I need to finish some now. So I kind of went on a reading binge, and I managed to read 3 by the end of the month.
Yeah. That was quite a good last week of the month,
yeah.
really. So without further ado, we are going to talk to you about the books that we read this month, last month, April, you know.
So one of the books that I read this month was a short story by Santa Clare, and it's the first book in the Ghost of the Shadow Market series. I'm guessing it's like the Magnus Bane ones, Chronicles, and the Shadowhunter Academy books, with the short stories, and then when they're all together she'll compile them into a book. But I read this one on my Kobo, and it was just really short and sweet, and it was lovely. Did I say what it was called? No. It's called The Son of the Dawn, in case you wanted to know. I should have said that at the start. Son of the Dawn goes to the Shadow Market. And it was brilliant. I can't say too much because there are characters in it that I can't reveal. But
God, aren't you going to be glad when I finish this
I
damn
know.
series?
Oh, actually, no, I can. Because you've read Infernal Devices.
Yeah.
No, I can't. No, I can't.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
So, as I was saying,
So confused
part
right
of
now.
it is basically Jace's storyline as he heads to the Lightwoods, and how he meets Isabel and Max and Alec for the first time, as well as their parents. So that's nice, but it features a lot of other different familiar characters as well, and it's really nice, and it was just a really cute insight to how Jace became a Lightwood, I suppose, and it was nice. I can't wait to continue on with the series. I'd like to see what happens. I know they're probably not related, a lot of them. They're just, short snippets from places in the world, but I'm still excited to know, how, say, maybe it might link some things together, which I really like.
So the first 2 books that I read this month are kind of connected. They are part of David Gemmell's Draenei series. I'm rereading them at the moment, so first one would be Waylander, and the second is Waylander 2, The Realm of the Wolf. So, oh my god, I love these books. They're so good. So there's this thing, I go on about Legend a lot, right? But Waylander is my second favourite literary character. Wow, that's a big statement to make, isn't it? I go on about Dross being my fave, but Waylander is a badass assassin who he is a grumpy man and doesn't realise what he can do for the world. So this isn't spoiling anything because it is on the back of the first Waylander book. All of these take place, the Waylander books, there's a couple, they take place before Legend, so chronologically they are the first in the Draenei series. Waylander is an assassin who takes a job off the wrong person and basically plunges the entire society into a storm of shit in which it is nearly impossible to escape. So bad things happen. Lots of priests and source men are getting murdered everywhere, and he's just there. And what can he do? It's just great, honestly. The way that he develops over the course of these 2 books is really interesting because he's no conscience Waylander, and then it's he just gets into it. This story follows mainly his adopted daughter, and it's really interesting. I absolutely love the characters in this book. It's one of the ones that I remember most clearly. It's just great. It's a really good time. And if you're interested in the origins of characters and how all the Draenei series wraps up, there's a really interesting link in this book to Legend that you just need to, you'll be like, oh, what? Yes. So I don't think any of that really made much sense, but I'm going to stop talking about it, and if you're interested in heroic fantasy, you should read Waylander and then Waylander 2, because they are awesome.
Another book that I read this month is another one of Cassandra Clare's, and that is Clockwork Angel. This is the first of the Infernal Devices. I've already read this, so this is a reread for me, but I just love it. I think because I do have such a love for the Mortal Instruments, and I've reread that a lot more, so I feel like a lot of the events that happen in it are more ingrained in my brain. Whereas this one, I know what happens in it, but then there are parts that I have forgot. When we were talking about it, I was like, oh, I forgot that had happened. So rereading them is just, it's reopening my love for them all over again, and it's like, Jem and Will, and I just love it. I really, really love it.
It's very good.
It's great, to be fair, so I am really enjoying it.
I still don't like Will in that book.
No, he is a bit of a cock, but
he gets better, sort of, in a bit.
Yeah.
It's like the end of that book, I'm like, you and Jace can go in a canoe and row out to sea. Like, stop. Men behaving badly, that's what that is. But it gets better, so...
It does.
Will improves. Hold on to that. Okay, so next up we have the only book that I actually physically read this month, which is a bit pathetic really, but we were busy, okay? That would be Percy Jackson and the Battle for the Labyrinth. I really liked this book. There was a lot of things that I'd forgotten about this book, and I remember they went into the labyrinth, and I remember the bit with the stables.
Yeah.
Is
it with the cows or something?
Yeah. And the horses that eat flesh and stuff like that. Yeah, I remember that. But I didn't really remember anything else.
Isn't there a bit with the big mount, the headed trolls or whatever?
The one with the eye. The hands, the thousand-handed one.
Yeah, the thousand-handed one. He's in there
totally
as well.
Forgot that ever happened.
Yeah.
Totally forgot just anything that happened in this book. Which was a very odd thing, but I really enjoyed it. I continue to enjoy Percy Jackson, and the rest of the series is just awaits. So, can't wait. I'm very excited for it.
And Nico.
Yeah. Yeah, this one's got more Nico in it, and I was excited that Mrs. O'Leary came into it in this book.
Yeah, Mrs. O'Leary.
Because you were talking about it the other day, and then I was like, who's Mrs. O'Leary? And then I read it, and I was like, Mrs. O'Leary!
Yeah.
I like Mrs. O'Leary. Then we have a book that I read because my mum likes the author, so I was like, I'll keep going with this series, because I've read one book by him, and I really enjoyed it, so I thought, I'll read book 2. And that is Crisis 4 by Andy McNab. So this book basically follows a guy who used to be in the SAS and is now sort of working random jobs that are off the grid, shall we say, not particularly awesome situations that you want to be in, and basically someone that he used to know is in a little bit of trouble and they've disappeared. So MI6 basically contact him to go and find this person and find what they're doing, because it's not exactly the sort of thing that you want to be involved in. Sort of terrorism type things. Really try not to give it away. It's really hard with this sort of book. It's really hard. But yeah, the way that it's written, I never thought I'd find someone shitting in a bag to be interesting, but I do. It was interesting. It's like that whole very realistic sort of thing.
You feel it with them, tense and...
Well, you feel like the tenseness, but there's a lot of waiting around and not much happening, which is great, because if you're staking someone out and you're sat in a bush, you sat in that bush until you're done, hence the pooing in a bag sort of thing. Because obviously you can't leave trace that you were there, ever.
Yeah,
Like,
but then where's he going to put the bag?
in his pocket. Exactly. Exactly. So, like, but this is what I found really interesting about it, because this is what actual people have to do in these sort of situations. You've got no choice. Hannah's never going to be in the SAS. That's all I get from this.
I struggle picking up my dog's poo. Never mind.
We don't pick it up. You just sort of...
Anyway,
off topic. It was a really great book, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm definitely picking up the next one.
the last book I read this month was Bitter Blue by Kristen Cashore. Now, Bitter Blue is a character that is introduced in Graceling, which is the first in this trilogy. So this is a book based on her. I can't go too much into it because this is the third book in the trilogy, and events have unfurled, and if I say what happens, it kind of ruins it. So basically, I just really enjoyed it. I can't talk about what happened, but it's really good. At first, like, I found it a bit slow and a bit like, is there anything that's going to actually happen? Like, okay. But then I felt like there was a turning point and things started to happen and things got explained. And then it picked up the pace and it got exciting and interesting and all the characters got interesting. And I really enjoyed it by the end of the book. Like, I can't decide which I want to like more out of Bitter Blue and Fire. I really can't decide. I kind of like them both for different reasons. I really like the characters in them. I really like the storyline behind them. And this one links in all three of the books. You know, it has characters from both books in it, which is really, really a nice, you know, twist in the end. So I just really, really enjoyed this whole series. I think Kristen Cashore has a very good way of writing. I really like reading her writing. Like, the way she creates a world and, like, a person. It's so believable. Like, I believe their stories and I could see it happening, which is really nice.
Okay, so the next two books that I read, the final two books that I read this month, one is a reread and one is a new book. So I'm going to just hold them up and then I'll talk about them individually. The first one, which was a reread, was The Sword of Shannara. I'm going to say Shannara just because that's how I say it, even though I know it's pronounced Shannara. Soon.
I know, but let's face it, it's Shannara, isn't it?
Yeah. So this one's a reread for me. And then I read The Elfstones of Shannara, which is book 2 in the original Shannara trilogy. Okay, so, Sword of Shannara. What a crock of shit. Honestly, it's Lord of the Rings. Word for word almost, with less interesting characters and a squeaky clean vibe that makes you totally just not believe that anything at all is going to happen to these characters. You're like, oh, this is happening. Oh, okay then, fine. And like, what he does is he switches orcs for gnomes, and he switches hobbits for Valemen, like Vale, people from the Vale that are shorter than other people. He switches the dwarves and the dwarves and the elves around so that the elves are kind of absent, or like sort of one half elf, and then the dwarves are like the main presence, and then Gondor happens, you know, that whole bit in Return of the King, that happens, you know, with, you know, a crazy person. Like, basically, word for word Lord of the Rings. It's bad. Like, if you want to put yourself through trash Lord of the Rings, read this book. I am honestly not sure how this got published, because this is, it's just so very copycat. I'm sure that someone from Tolkien's estate would be like, ooh, that's a little bit too close to Lord of the Rings right there. Maybe you should not have that royalties and stuff, because it's very unoriginal. So yeah, this book, bad. But Like, here's the thing, I knew this because I read this before when I was younger, and I didn't really enjoy it then. And I, like, older, wiser me thought, oh, I'll read it so that I can continue with the series, because I have since read a couple of other of Terry Brooks' books, the Genesis of Shannara books. Really great, really enjoyed those. He obviously has gotten a lot better as a writer, because this original series is like, it's really annoying. Like, some of the things that he says, he shook his head negatively. He nodded his head positively. What? Now, anyway, that's enough I've got to say about that, but the writing in this is not good either, so, like, just don't. Get on the floor! So,
Been demoted!
that's where you live now!
You deserve to go with the monstromologist under the sofa!
So it's still under there?
Yeah. I don't even want to see it.
Just lives there.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're talking about the Elfstones of Shannara, which honestly was my favourite book in the trilogy, because I finished the third one, but you'll see that next month's wrap-up. So this book is actually my favourite in the trilogy, and it is a bit different. This one this book mostly follows the elves, and basically what is happening is their sacred tree, which is called the Elcris, is dying. Something has happened to it, and it is dying. And what happens if the Elcris dies is that all of the demons that it is holding back, because it was created to hold the demons into the forbidding, if the Elcris dies, then all of those are unleashed on the world, and basically everybody else is going to die, because they are not equipped, and they don't have enough magic to repel the demons these days. So, if the Elcris dies, bad things. Now, the only people that can save the Elcris are the chosen elves. But the problem is, a couple demons get through, and all of the chosen are killed. So, there is one chosen who wasn't in the elf city at the time, and it basically follows the grandson of the main character in the first book, and the chosen who wasn't present, as they basically try and save the Elcris and save all of the world, basically. And it was way more interesting than the other one. I still don't really care about the characters. They're all rather kind of people. I think I gave this a 3 stars because it was okay. It's the most interesting one of the original trilogy, but it's not really saying very much. You know, I think I like the elves. I like the elves, and I like the reason for their quest and that sort of thing. But yeah, it was okay. Fine book. So those were all the books that we read this month. You know, it was a difficult time. We were very busy. Like, we spent most of our time watching people's videos, editing our own videos, putting them up, making sure that... Well, we still had to film some because we tried to pre-film, but it didn't really work out that well. Like, we did quite a few pre-films.
Yeah.
It was difficult anyway. So,
So really, you're lucky you've even got a wrap up.
Yeah, you are. To be honest, like, yeah, I'm not disappointed with what we've done.
No,
like, I think we read all right. Like, we did all right. Especially as, like, the books that we read this month were quite big.
I mean,
like, well, your
Ghost of the Shadow Market wasn't that big.
Right, well, that one doesn't count. But you read your 3 in a week, so
yeah.
Like, let's be more generous there. Yeah, so, you know, we hope you liked this video. If you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you later.
Bye!